Hari Om, Mickey Space here, guiding you through a meditation practice. So welcome. First of all, make sure you're sitting nice and comfortably. If you can, cross-legged on the floor, maybe up on a cushion. If that's not comfortable, on a chair is fine, wherever is comfortable for you. We're going to work with a practice of meditation which I call noting. It could also be called a witnessing awareness meditation. And the idea is, first of all, just to consider or acknowledge that we are not the mind, or that the mind is not the deeper essence of who we are. The mind is a useful tool that we can use to move into the world, into the world out there. But ultimately, we are something beyond the mind. We are part of that deep inner essence. So that's part of the self-inquiry aspect of yoga, is to inquire into our deep true nature. So when we come to sit in meditation, one of the challenges is to somewhat tame the monkey mind. So this practice is acknowledging that the mind is busy, and rather than fighting any of the thoughts that arise, we acknowledge the thoughts. So we note the thoughts. But then we can come back to maybe a nice deep breath. The breath's always a nice place, a nice tool to use to rest our awareness on. But with full acknowledgement of thoughts that arise. So thoughts arise, and we note the thought. So it's almost like we're catching the thought as it arises, or once we've caught it at some point. Oh, yep, that's a thought. Let it go, and then come back to that place, that stillness between the thoughts. So just catching all the thoughts as they arise. So let's try that. We'll close the eyes. And start to deepen your breath. Relax the shoulders, lengthen through the spine. So as the body relaxes, and using your breath as your main point of call, the place to come back to. But as a thought arises, and the thoughts do arise, sometimes more swiftly than others, but as the thought arises, we note the thought. So we lovingly acknowledge all thoughts that arise. But the aim is to try not to get too caught up in the thought. Just recognize it. It's almost like you're noting it down on a piece of paper. Yep, there's a thought of such and such. File it away for later use if it might be handy, but then coming back to breath, so letting go of that thought, making maybe way for another thought. So working this practice for the next few minutes, just like you're playing a little game. Thought arises, we note it. We come back to the breath, we let the thought go. Make way for another one. Sometimes we can get very lost in some of our thoughts, like a whole story is taking place. But at some point we acknowledge that we may be lost in that thought without beating ourselves up, because that's what the mind does. We acknowledge that thought, we note it, and we come back to the breath, we let it go. So now, nice and slowly, begin to deepen your breath. Begin to feel your body again. Feel yourself present in your sitting posture. And when you're ready, we'll blink our eyes back open. Let's take a moment to give thanks and gratitude for the mind, that we have the thought machine, as challenging as it can be to be lost in that machine's thoughts. It's a useful tool for our human journey, our human experience. but to acknowledge and to understand that we are more than just the mind. Namaste, thank you very much.